Angela and Williams. That was how it began. Two strangers in the vast city of New York, standing at opposite ends of life's ladder, yet connected by a single accident that neither of them saw coming. Angela was 28, soft-spoken, with tired eyes that carried too many dreams for a small-town girl. She had come to the city with hopes of becoming a writer, but like so many who came before her, she found herself instead behind the counter of a small cafe near Fifth Avenue. Life was simple but heavy, bills piled up, her mother was sick back home, and her own heart was weary from years of waiting for something extraordinary. Williams Carter, on the other hand, was everything the world admired and envied. He was a billionaire before 40, CEO of Carter Industries, a man whose name appeared on business magazines, whose life sparkled in gossip columns, and whose face was often hidden behind designer sunglasses and a mask of calm authority. Yet, beyond the luxury cars and high-rise penthouses, Williams lived alone. The world adored him, but no one really knew him. He had learned early that money could buy silence, comfort, and even loyalty, but not peace. And so, one rainy evening in November, their paths crossed, not in a boardroom, not at a charity gala, but on a wet, crowded street corner. Angela was running late for her night shift. Her umbrella was broken by the wind, and she clutched her worn-out coat tightly around her. The traffic light turned red as she stepped off the curb, distracted by the call from her mother's hospital nurse. Williams was driving himself that night, a rare thing. His mind was far away, filled with business worries and the ghosts of a recent breakup. He didn't see the figure step in front of the car until it was too late. The sound of screeching tires cut through the rain. The car halted just inches from Angela, who had frozen in fear. Her phone slipped from her hand and shattered on the pavement. Williams jumped out, his heart pounding with guilt and shock. "Are you hurt?" he asked, voice trembling. Angela shook her head, soaked and trembling. I think I'm okay," she stammered. But her knees gave out, and he caught her just in time. For a moment, the city disappeared. There was only the sound of rain, the reflection of streetlights on the puddles, and the warmth of two souls colliding by accident. He insisted on taking her to the hospital. She refused at first, too proud, too frightened, but his sincerity disarmed her. Inside the emergency room, under the white lights, she watched this man, this stranger, pace nervously like a child who had broken something precious. That night, Williams Carter didn't go home. He waited until the doctors confirmed Angela was fine. He offered to replace her phone, pay her bills, anything, but she refused everything except a ride home. When she stepped out of his car in front of her small apartment, she smiled faintly and said, "Sometimes accidents are just reminders that someone out there still cares enough to stop." For reasons he couldn't explain, those words stayed with him. Williams returned to the cafe a week later. He told himself he wanted to apologize again, to make sure she was truly okay. But when he saw her behind the counter, her hair tied up, her smile faint but kind, he realized he wasn't there out of guilt. He wanted to see her again. Angela froze when she saw him. "You," she said, almost whispering. "Yes, I needed coffee." She laughed quietly. "From all places in New York, you came here for coffee." "Maybe it's the best one," he said, though he hadn't even tasted it yet. From that day, Williams kept coming. Sometimes he sat quietly at the corner table, reading the newspaper or just staring out the window. Other times, they talked about nothing and everything. She didn't treat him like a billionaire, she treated him like a man. That was new for him. Angela found something unusual in him too. Despite his wealth, his eyes always looked tired, like he was searching for something beyond all the luxury. He listened to her stories about her mother, about the small town she missed, and the novel she dreamed of finishing someday. In return, he told her about his late father who taught him that success without love was just noise. It was strange how quickly comfort can grow between strangers. One evening, he found her crying in the alley behind the cafe. Her mother's condition had worsened. The hospital bills were rising. She had no one to turn to. Without hesitation, Williams offered to help. "Please, Angela, let me." But she refused. "You don't understand, Williams. I can't be someone's charity." His voice softened. "It's not charity. It's care, maybe even friendship." Something in his tone broke her walls. That night, He transferred the money anonymously to the hospital. She found out later, but by then, her mother was already recovering. Angela tried to confront him, but when she saw him waiting at the cafe, his eyes tired but gentle, all she could say was, "Thank you." He smiled faintly. "For once, I'm glad my money meant something real." From then on, they became inseparable. He took her to quiet dinners, to parks at night where they could talk without cameras or noise. He read her unfinished novel and told her it was beautiful. Sometimes, he would hold her hand, and she wouldn't pull away. It wasn't love yet, but it was the reflection of love. Something fragile, delicate, and terrifyingly real. Love crept in silently, without warning. One evening, she kissed him goodbye before he left for a business trip to Chicago. It was soft, uncertain, but it lingered. He held her face gently, almost afraid to let go. When he returned days later, he wasn't the same. He started canceling meetings just to spend a few hours with her. The media began to notice his absence. Rumors spread, but he didn't care. He told Angela once, "You make the noise in my head stop. Do you know how rare that is?" She smiled. "Maybe because you finally listened to your heart. But love, especially accidental love, never comes without a price." One night, Angela's world collapsed. A journalist approached her outside the cafe. He had photos of her and Williams, photos that could ruin his reputation, his company's stability, and her privacy. The journalist threatened to publish everything unless she gave an exclusive interview. Angela refused. She went straight to Williams and told him everything. He stood silent for a long time, then said softly, "I can handle it." But the next day, the story broke anyway. Headlines screamed, "Billionaire's secret affair with cafe girl." The board demanded explanations. Investors panicked. Williams protected Angela, told the world it was his fault, not hers. But she saw the damage, his career, his empire, his name, all collapsing because of her. That night, she told him they had to end it. He shook his head. "No, Angela, don't do this. I have to," she whispered through tears. "You gave me your heart. Now I have to save your life." She left before dawn, leaving behind only a note that said, "Thank you for teaching me what love feels like, even for a little while." Months passed. Williams became a ghost of himself. He went to work, signed papers, attended meetings, but his eyes were hollow. He sometimes drove to that same cafe and sat alone at their table, even though she was gone. Angela moved back to her small town. Her mother was well again, and her book, unfinished for years, finally found its ending. It was a story about a man who had everything but peace, and a woman who had nothing but love. She didn't publish it under her real name. She called it The Accident. Every page was a memory of him, every word, an embrace she could no longer give. And though she tried to move on, every night when the wind blew through her window, she could still hear his voice saying, "You make the noise stop." 2 years later, fate intervened again. Angela's novel became an unexpected success. It was praised for its emotional depth, for its honesty about love and loss. During an awards ceremony in New York, she was invited to read an excerpt. As she stood on stage, nervous but composed, she read, "Love is not always meant to last. Sometimes, it's meant to show us who we are when the world stops pretending. Sometimes, love is an accident, gentle, painful, and unforgettable." The audience applauded, but among them, sitting quietly in the last row, was a man she thought she would never see again. Williams. After the event, she found him waiting outside in the cold. He looked older, more fragile, but his eyes were the same, still searching, still kind. "I read your book," he said. "I recognized us." Angela's voice trembled. "Then you know it's not a happy story." He smiled faintly. "Maybe not, but it's real." They walked together through the empty streets of Manhattan. No cameras, no bodyguards, just silence and memory. At the same spot where they first met, the same corner where the rain had nearly taken her life, he stopped. "Do you ever wonder," he asked softly, "if we could have been something more?" She looked up at him, tears glistening in her eyes. "We already were. We just didn't last long enough to see it." He nodded, and without another word, he pulled her into an embrace. The city lights blurred behind them. Time seemed to stop. For a moment, everything was as it should have been. No money, no pain, no distance. Just two souls holding on to the only truth that had ever mattered. That night became their last. Williams flew to Europe the next morning for treatment. Unknown to her, he had been battling a silent illness for months. He didn't tell her, he didn't want pity, only memory. Weeks later, she received a letter from him. It was handwritten, delicate, almost fading. Angela, I used to believe love was control, that power could protect me from pain. But you taught me that love is surrender. It's letting go when you want to hold on, and holding on when the world tells you to let go. If this is my last letter, know that I left the world a better man because I met you. Thank you for the accident that changed my life. It's me, Williams. Angela cried for hours, then days. She traveled to Paris months later, to the address on the envelope, but he was gone. He had passed quietly, leaving most of his fortune to children's charities, and a small sum to fund new writers, under the name, the Angela Foundation. When she visited his grave, she brought with her a copy of The Accident. She placed it beside his stone, and whispered, "You're still the only story I never finished." And as the wind brushed through the cemetery, she swore she felt a warmth, a whisper of an embrace that needed no arms, no words. Just presence. Years passed. Angela became a renowned author, known for her stories of melancholy and quiet hope. But in every interview, when asked about her inspiration, she always smiled sadly and said, "An accident once showed me what love truly means." She never married. Some said she was waiting for someone. Others said she was simply content with memory. But every winter, she returned to that same street corner in New York, the one where everything began. She would stand there with a cup of coffee in hand, watching the rain, whispering softly, "You make the noise stop." And somehow, she always felt he was near. Love hadn't given her forever, but it had given her meaning. It had taught her that even in pain, there is beauty. That even in loss, there is memory. And that the power of embrace is not in how long it lasts, but in how deeply it stays. In the end, theirs was not a fairy tale. It was something far more real, a reflection of love, sacrifice, pain, and the quiet grace of letting go. Angela and Williams were never meant to last, but their story did. It lingered in every heart that dared to believe that sometimes, the greatest loves are not the ones that end happily, but the ones that remind us what it means to feel. And somewhere beyond the stars, if love has an echo, it sounds like this. A car stopping in the rain. A hand reaching out. A voice saying softly, "Are you hurt?" "No, just human."